Well, hello, it's Kiat. Welcome back, and this time I will making a cookie fairy doll, or rather attempting to make one. You've read the title, but you don't know how much I struggled to make this doll and to edit this video. So without further ado, let's hop right into it. My problem child today is an ever after high doll that has had it rough. Her hands are missing, one foot is gone, and her hair is sticky. She has also molded on leggings, which I absolutely despise. Let's save her. I go through my usual preparation stage of cutting off the hair with my nail scissors, ripping off the head and remove her original face up. I don't need this neck pack, so I will be shortening it. It's anyway only used so that kids don't rip off the heads that easily. Not like that ever stopped them though. I will be removing the leftover hair strands with my mini flathead screwdriver and go over with it with acetone to get rid of the residue. So far so good. Let's remember that I said that. As you read from the title, I will be making a cookie fairy. Basically like the sugar plum fairy in Tchaikovsky's ballet Swan Lake, but with cookies. But not any ordinary cookies. With these ones, which basically are Austrian national cookies called Linzeraugen, meaning Linzer eyes. Well, because the opening in these cookies can be called eyes. Remember that I will be quizzing that next term. So my concept includes... Oh wait, I have to explain one more thing. Santa Claus has an entry ban for Austria, because we know what you did, Mr. Claus. Or is that even your real name? So his colleague, the Christkind, brings our present. Basically a generalized angel with golden locks and wings. So that knowing, I can show you now my concept. A Christkind being with golden wings, an Edwardian-inspired nightgown, a basket full of Linzeraugen, and stars on the head. Oh yeah, and a cape in the shape of a Linzer cookie. But we don't talk about that right now. Otherwise I'm gonna start crying again. I wanted to have a vintage feel with her, like these old postcards. But project can't really always run that smoothly. So let's start on changing the color of her leggings. That color doesn't really do anything for her. I once bought a pair of hands on the black doll market, which put me certainly on at least 10 lists. Instead of sculpting a second foot, I decided to just cut the left one straight off and sculpt slightly flatter ones. But since that didn't work, I took it into my own hands, quite literally. That will go into my body part pin. Coming back to changing the color of the leggings. I used model tape and cellophane and covered the upper body since I will be spraying her with the same white primer I used for my Kaibo video. This is the body after 2 coats. Looks way better now. It will also not be that noticeable once she wears a dress. Switching over to the head now. I cut open the head previously to get all the leftover hair out, and now I'm using soft plastic glue to close it back up. Look how smoothly that all goes. Little did I know, starting a Christmas doll 3 days before Christmas wasn't such a good idea. Now to her face up. I sprayed down her face twice with a sealant, and now I'm using my watercolor pencils to draw the face on. I also use pastels for shading. I'll tell you, the right eye was smooth sailing. I only redrew the eyebrow 3 times until it had the shape I wanted. But then the left eye happened. I usually don't have such problem drawing the left eye. It only ever took 2, maybe 3 attempts when I'm really not focused. But this time, believe me or not, it took me 8 attempts. I'm just gonna show you a few of them, but man, it was terrible. On top of that, the weather was set to change to extremely rainy on the next day until the end of the year. So I only had this one day to make it good. Now I'm taking out the measuring tape. You know, that's my last resort. That just wouldn't get even this time. Off camera I drew this version, which I immediately needed to correct. Even the sealant started to break at this point. Oh yeah, the eyelashes were way too big. Watch me later remove them violently. At this point I was in denial and just slapped on pastels on there to distract me a bit. It doesn't look so bad now. I go on with my darker pencils to sharpen up the edges. It looks so good now, stop working on her, please! But I didn't. So I had to scratch off the left portion with a stand knife. That's a first for me. But this time I finally did it right. I get a trauma just looking at this footage. So after finally, the eyes were set, I used acrylics to draw the eye shines. Oh yeah, I think I haven't mentioned yet that I gave her bright red eyes and lips to mimic a Linzer cookie. Here I thought I could experiment a bit and drew highlights on her cheeks. Like I didn't learn anything. I swiped it right off. Now to really finalize the face, I use gloss to go over her lips and eyes. Since I got some friendly hand donations, and red is the main color of this concept, I paint her nails red. Oh yeah, and not only did I struggle painting this doll, I also struggled this time with the position of my camera. It even fell over once when I wasn't in my room. It's cursed. It's so cursed. I glossed them as well. Here I'm contemplating her hair color. White would make her look more like a magical fairy, but this brown though. But that would mean I have to take apart each string and it would take forever. So guess what I chose? Yep, the white one! So after a few hours of parting the curled up hair strands, I ended up with this. And then I decided to make her a reroot. I hate rerouting. I don't know what I was thinking. Oh yes, and this is my homemade rerouting tool. Be nice to him. After I rerouted around her head and the middle part, I ran out of strings, so I just cut off the excess and glued them on. Psst, this is just a secret between me and you. And if you tell anyone, the sharp Männer and the Perchten will come after you. And they are legally allowed to slap you with their rods. What a Christmassy episode. After all my secrets are secure, I brush slightly through the hair and start styling it with styling gel. My favorite things to make are miniature accessoires. Since I wanted her to have some kind of vintage look, I made her accessoires with golden wire and thread. So that the stars are all somewhat straight, I drew a star form onto a piece of paper and formed the wire around it and bent it with pliers. Don't let this footage fool you, I had to throw away 4 pieces because they broke during bending. So I ended up with these 5 here that survived. I knot the thread onto the wire and start covering them. I do this a few times. With the same concept in mind, I create her wings. I bent the metal wire and covered it with glue and golden thread. Now on to her dress. I'm not even gonna pretend that I knew what I was doing. I just eye measured and hand stitched everything together. This took me a full day. Stitched on her golden wings with the golden thread so that I didn't have to glue it onto her back. This was the only thing of the stole that worked the first time I tried it. Now the cape. The cape. I will be honest, at this point I ran out of time and I can't hand stitch to save my life. This stupid cape took me 5 hours just to look like the screaming souls of the dead. I mean, look at it. I ditched it. I also ran out of time to make her new feet and the actual cookies that she would carry around. But still, I hope that you kind of forgive me this time. I really like the outcome, but I just simply ran out of time. Anyway, it's Christmas, so I wish you all a Merry Christmas and we will see each other in the new year. Have a great holiday and relax a bit, because that's what I will be doing. Ciao, ciao! I bit my tongue. Ow!